to my channel and to another episode of In the Knit With Me series, or another installment in the Knit With Me series. This is for March 2019, even though today is already April 11th of April. So I'm about to cast on for a new project with yarn that I got from Edinburgh Yarn Festival. If you want to see what I got up to there, you can view the vlog here. And if you just want to hear more about this Obis etc. yarn, you can watch my latest podcast here as well. So I'm gonna be casting on for Harriet Row, which is a cowl that I a cowl that I released about a year ago in March 2018, and I just want to knit another one of those, and I got this yarn specifically for this project, and I'm quite pleased with myself for casting on so soon after purchasing the yarn. I think this is I can't say really it's a recurring trend, but it has happened before that I bought something and pretty much cast on immediately, and it hasn't always been so. So let's see how I can count and talk at the same time. I might take a break to check my stitch count at some point. So March. There was a lot going on. If you watched the previous Knit With Me from February, all of those things, they didn't disappear. They were still there. But I am doing a lot better. Thank you so much, everyone who commented on that and who has just sort of checked up on me, send me messages in various social media places that I hang out in. It does mean a lot to me, and it warms my heart that you care. So yeah, I'm doing a lot better. I mean, it's still not easy. I can't say that, but I'm feeling positive, which is good. I think these things take time, so I'm not worried about that. I'm giving myself time, and it's been quite empowering actually to see how much I can do on my own, how much I can take care of. And yeah, I do ask for help if I need it, but I hope you know what I mean by finding out that it's an empowering feeling to know that you can do things on your own, you can manage on your own. So yeah, and that's really good. And yes, in March I went to Edinburgh. I won't talk about the Yarn Festival bit here because I did a whole vlog about it, and I also talked about it in the podcast episode. But I also had a couple of days just for me in Edinburgh in Scotland, and this was my third trip to there in March, and it's just always I love the festival, I love Edinburgh, and I love Scotland, so it's just perfect. And it was so nice to go there again. This was actually my fourth time in total in Edinburgh and fifth in Scotland. But it was so nice to get back there and not feel like you've arrived somewhere new. Like it was familiar. I mean, I'm sure there are still a lot of places I don't know about. I found, or I went to new to me places. I ate in new to me places. I went to Calton Hill for the first time. If you've been to Edinburgh, or if you live there, if you know the city, you're probably wondering how have I managed not to go up there. But I haven't, and now I finally did. So there are still new things to discover, but it's nice to have like familiar cafes and to sort of know your way around the city, not have to stare at Google Maps on your phone all the time when you're walking. Just you sort of know where you're going. You're starting to be familiar with some of the bus routes. I really love that. I'm gonna take a pause and count my stitches. Yeah, so I cast on a few too many. Just unraveling those. Oh, and now I lost my place. Why did I do that? I need to count again. Alright, back in business. So one of the things that I did there was to go walking in Pentland Hills, and that was really nice. I managed to do it with the public buses, which was fun, or made it really easy that you could get there that way. I think I ended the blog when I started my Outlander tour. That was on the Sunday after the festival, and that went to Linlithgow Palace, Blackness Castle, Dune Castle, and Kouros, a village called Kouros. Not entirely sure. I was taught how to pronounce that, but I might get it wrong. I'm sorry. So yes, all of those places had been used as locations for the Outlander series. Now, I'm a huge fan of the books. You've actually seen them in my bookshelf on, I think, one of my episodes, or just somewhere. So yeah, I'm a huge fan of those books. I'm currently rereading them. I think I've read the first 2 or 3 books. This is my 3rd or 4th time reading them, and I plan on reading them all the way to the end now. So the latter parts I haven't read. I've only read once, so I'm rereading that. But I also really love the series, the TV series. And I know they're different, but I'm considering them as sort of separate beings, similar inspiration but separate beings. So I'm not comparing them. But I did enjoy visiting those places and seeing them with my own eyes. But I also enjoyed visiting those places for their own right. They were all really interesting places to visit. Especially Linlithgow Palace. It was so much fun to just explore. Like, I've been to these grand palaces like Versailles and places like that have been sort of preserved, but this one, it's just sort of the bones of the building. And it was so much fun, so interesting to just poke your head around here and there and see sort of the structure behind what you usually see. Yeah, it must have been a really beautiful palace when it's when it has been when people have been living there. And towards the end of the visit, the end of my trip to Scotland, I also spent a day with Lina from the Frostbites podcast, and we visited a fabric store, and then we went to the Royal Botanical Gardens, and it was just a wonderful visit. Like, spring is much ahead in Scotland compared to Finland, so seeing all the blooms there was nice, the spring blooms, and the glass houses. I'm sure that when the tourist season begins, it's going to be filled with people. And on weekends, this was I think a Monday that we went there. But yeah, so it was really peaceful. And there's so much to look at. So I had a really, really nice visit there. And before my flight home, I had my suitcase stored in the Waverley station, sort of a left luggage facility there, just so that because I had to check out of my Airbnb quite early in the morning, so I left my bag there so I wouldn't have to drag it up and down the hills in Scotland. Okay, I'll get back to this in a minute, but now that I remember, the very last place that I visited was the Scottish National Gallery. No, the National Museum of Scotland. And they had an exhibit on historic Scottish samplers, so cross stitch and other embroidery. Some of them had other embroidery, but traditionally samplers are cross stitched. So cross stitch samplers. And that was a really interesting exhibit. You couldn't take any photographs because the samplers were on loan from a private collection. But I really, really enjoyed looking through that. I think it's on for a little while, so if you happen to be anywhere near Edinburgh, go check that out. So it was fun to also combine my other craft with this otherwise very yarny visit. So about the bag, well, not about the bag, but about the station. I think train stations, well, airports as well, but train stations have this sort of charm, like announcements of trains heading to different locations, and just imagining what those locations would be like and what you would see while going there. I got this really big urge to sometimes travel to Edinburgh by train. It would take a long time because I'd have to go through pretty much half of Europe. But I know it can be done. Well, I can't take a train from my home to there. I would need to cross over to somewhere with a ferry. And that's because even though northern Finland is connected to, of course, other countries, there aren't train tracks going anywhere else, going to other countries from Finland. Yeah. So even if I traveled up north, I wouldn't be able to cross the border to Sweden on the train. So I'd need to take a ferry into Stockholm and then board a train and head on over Northern Europe to London and then onwards to Edinburgh. It could be done, but I'd need a lot more days for that. But I need to think about that, because I think traveling by train, I could actually work on the train if they have a Wi-Fi connection. Even if not everything I do needs to be, I don't need to be connected to the net, like at all stages of my work. I do need to periodically be able to connect, but I could do things offline as well. I sort of work on things offline as well. So I really need to start thinking about that, because it could be fun. I'm actually thinking that once my finances allow, I could do a sort of a interrail trip with my son, because he really wants to go to London and do the Harry Potter studios, and I've promised him I'll take him there. But I'm also thinking I could do that on the train. Does that sound crazy to you? I don't know. I think it sounds a bit crazy, but then again, it sounds like so much fun, and it would be a lot better for the environment instead of just flying. And it would feel more like an adventure, wouldn't it? I guess during the past month or so, I really started to tap into what I want, like what I enjoy, and just since it is now just me, well, me and my son, but me pretty much making the decisions, I can really just do the things I want to do, regardless of whether they sound crazy to someone else or not. So that is it for this episode. A lot of travel talk this time, but it's just been on my mind a lot lately. That and work. I guess it's a balance. It's a nice balance, work and travel. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up and click the subscribe button if you haven't done so already. That way you'll be kept up to date when I release new content, which is pretty much every week, Thursday or Friday. So that means I will see you soon again, and happy knitting. Bye!